Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
As you heard from my teacher, Victoria, in this week's Torah portion, or Parashah, a Moabite king named Balak offers great riches to a non-Jewish prophet named Balaam if he will just come to Moab and curse the Israelites, the ancient Jewish people. The Israelites have recently arrived from Egypt and are a big threat to the Moabites. After a few conversations with God, the prophet Balaam thinks he has permission to accept King Balak's money. He rides off on his she-donkey, who later talks and shows that she has a much clearer picture of the situation than Balaam does. When Balaam gets to Moab, God requires Balaam to bless the Israelites instead of cursing them. In a disturbing twist at the end, God becomes very angry with the Israelites because they have gotten into hanging out with the Moabites and worshiping Moabite gods. God sends a plague that kills 24,000 people. It's an action-packed adventure that raises lots of confusing questions, but I only have time to talk about a few. First of all, this is the Torah, right? So, why is God talking to a non-Jewish prophet? Second, why is there a talking she-donkey who can see things the prophet cannot? And finally, why is God in the story killing people just because they're hanging out with non-Israelites and worshiping other gods? What are the teachings in all of this? First, I thought to myself, why is God talking to a non-Jewish prophet in the Torah? Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson says, because the Israelites are blessed by a non-Jewish prophet in this Torah portion, it forces us to look at the relationships between the Israelites and the non-Jewish peoples. I have a personal experience with this because I was born to a Catholic mother and a Muslim father in Africa. I was also raised in a Christian orphanage from the age of 5 until I was 8. At age 8, I was adopted by my Jewish and part Native American family here in the U.S., and have been going to Jewish school ever since. So I have a lot of experience with both Jewish and non-Jewish perspectives. In this week's Torah portion, King Balak asks Balaam to curse the Israelites. In history, there have been a lot of people who have gotten mad at the Jews and tried to curse them, including Hitler and the leaders of many Middle Eastern countries. So, what is the meaning of a Torah portion where a non-Jewish prophet is asked to curse the Israelites, but ends up blessing them? Perhaps this is encouraging us to dream about the possibility of peace. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all just get along? During my 6 years in the Jewish community, I have become close with many Jewish friends, but part of me still has an outsider's perspective. I have come to really enjoy the holidays, the latkes, the Passover foods, but definitely not the gefilte fish. I also enjoyed the B'nai Mitzvah parties. Even after being annoyed by some aspects of religious school, I've chosen to join Midrashah, a weekly Jewish youth group, and to have a bar mitzvah ceremony. So, like the non-Israelite prophet Balaam, I was forced by my parents to find the good parts of being Jewish. Balaam was forced to bless the Israelites by God, even though he was hoping to be paid for cursing them. In my case, I was forced to keep going to religious school, even though there were other things I would much rather do. But now I am done with religious school, and I'm able to choose my own path. I think the message of the non-Israelite prophet is that we should do everything we can to keep the dream alive, the dream of peace between different peoples of all races and religions. The second question I've thought about is, why does the Torah have a talking she-donkey who is able to see better than a human prophet who speaks to God? Balaam is not able to see God's angels standing in his path with a sword to block his way, but the she-donkey sees this all clearly and eventually lays down. Balaam goes crazy. He beats the she-donkey for disobeying him and says he wants to kill her. She talks and points out how he is beating her when she was trying to save him. I agree with Rabbi Lisa Edwards, who has said that the Torah is trying to show Balaam and all of us that you should not take animals and people less powerful than you for granted. Only when the angel becomes visible and the she-donkey talks does Balaam realize his mistake. The message for us is to be patient and try to understand. Others may have noticed something important that we have missed. It is easy to get caught up into thinking you know what is going on and to not listen to others, especially animals. In the Torah portion, Balaam is anxious to get to Moab and collect his pay. But God shows Balaam that his greedy, evil mind is blinding him to what was really going on. I could relate to this story because I recently rode a mule into a deep canyon on a trip to Utah. My mule was named Sidestep, and I had a very hard time with him. He was very stubborn and never went where I wanted him to go. I felt mad and frustrated and thought he was going to take us over the edge of the cliff. I was scared and had no trust in him. Even though he had been riding on the trail for years, I felt like he was just a mule, so I should be in charge. But at the end, I finally relaxed a bit and realized Sidestep knew way more than I did. I started to trust him, even though it was scary. So, the Torah may be telling us, next time you are in a situation with someone you don't trust or you think is doing things for no reason, try giving them the benefit of the doubt. They may surprise you. Finally, what does it mean at the end of the parashah when the Israelites and the Moabites start hanging out and praying together that God brings a plague and kills 24,000 people? Why does God end the plague only when an Israelite leader kills an Israelite-Moabite couple? This is a tough one. It seems to say no mixing between the tribes is allowed. Balaam says, I see them from the mountaintops, a people that dwells apart. Is the Torah saying that the only right way to live is to live separately with your own group and to do as you're told? So, of course, we look to the commentators for some perspective. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch sees the idea that the Israelites are separate and should stay apart as a sign that they have an internal mission to carry out. I agree with Rabbi Hirsch that there can be good things about maintaining your separate culture and beliefs. But I'm happy that Kehillah, which means community in Hebrew, is a place where we try to respect and include everyone. Today at Kehillah, marriage to a non-Jew does not mean you have violated the standards of the community or should be killed. Rather, it means you've brought a new friend to our community and we welcome them, just as I was welcomed to this community, even though I was an outsider. I think the teachings here may be that in ancient times, people were more afraid of other groups. But in modern times, We have the opportunity to maintain our traditions and still try to be part of a global village where many tribes get along and try to live in peace. All these things I have discussed in this week's Torah portion make me think about how we treat other people in other groups who are different from us. People come in all types of shapes, looks, and groups. The teaching I take from this parsha is that we should all appreciate our differences instead of hating them. This spirit is what I like best about Kahila and about my school, Oakland School for the Arts. In these communities, we recognize that even though people come from all over, there's something special and good in everyone, and we should try to see it. Shabbat Shalom.